First, let us learn about the adjective and kinds of adjective. Adjective and kinds of adjective. Let us learn the adjective, kinds of adjective. What do you mean by adjective? Yes, come on, look at this sentence now. The rose is a beautiful flower. Here, which is the noun? The noun is rose. Rose is the noun. How is the rose? What kind of flower is the rose? It is a beautiful flower. So, here the word beautiful describes the noun rose. Therefore, it is called as adjective. What do you call it as? Adjective. What do you mean by adjective then? Adjective is the word which is used to add something to the meaning of a noun, which describes a noun. Look at the next sentence. She had sufficient money. How much money she had? She had sufficient money. This sufficient becomes the adjective here. Several men came to see the lion. Yes, here's men. How many men? Several men. Several becomes the adjective. I like those mangoes. Which mango did you like? You like those mangoes. Those becomes the adjective. Whose purse is this? So here the question is asking about the noun purse. Whose? This is my book. Here, whose book is this? My book. Mine. Each boy must take his turn. Each boy. Each describes a word. Noun boy. Indian tea is the best tea. Tea. Which tea? It is Indian tea. So, Indian. So, look at these words, children. Beautiful, then you call it as a proper adjective. Yes, children. Now you have understood all the 8 kinds of adjectives, I think so. Let us move recall what we have learned today, children, the definitions. Okay? Yes, we learned about the adjective and kinds of adjectives. What is an adjective? An adjective is a word that is used to add something to the meaning of a noun. It adds something to the meaning of a noun. This adjective is classified into 8 kinds. What are they? Adjective of quality, adjective of quantity, adjective of number, demonstrative adjective, interrogative adjective, possessive adjective, distributive adjective, and proper adjective. Yes. Now you came to know what are these 8 adjectives. So what do you mean by adjective of quality? Adjective of quality tells us what kind of a person or thing is. It tells you what kind they are. Whether a person or thing, it is of what kind. It answers the question, what kind. Then adjective of quantity. This adjective of quantity tells us how much of a thing is eaten. How much? It answers the question, how much. Then adjective of number. It shows how many persons or things there are or in what order any of them stands. So it answers you the question, how many. If an adjective answers the question, how many or in what order any of them stands, then it is said to be as adjective of number. Next, demonstrative adjective points out which person or things are meant. It points out the person or thing to whom it means. So it is known as demonstrative adjective. Next, interrogative adjective. Interrogative adjective are used with nouns to ask question. Along with the noun, it is interrogative adjective is used to ask a question. Then possessive adjectives. Possessive adjective used with nouns to show possession. Always keep it in mind and remember it, children. The interrogative adjective will be used with the noun and even the possessive adjective will be used with the noun. Demonstrative adjective also is used with the noun. Distributive adjective. It is used to refer to members of a group as individuals. So distributive adjective, for example, each, every, neither, all these words are said as distributive adjective. Next, proper adjective are formed from proper nouns. So it will be along with the noun or this proper noun will be given. So it is called as proper adjective. Yes, now let us move to the next chapter, that is the adverb kinds of adverb. What is an adverb? Adverb is the word which adds something to the meaning of a verb and tells us how a thing is done, when it is done or where it is done. Yes, now here this adverb is divided into different kinds, that is adverb of manner, adverb of place, adverb of time, adverb of number, adverb of degree and interrogative adverbs. So it is divided into 6 kinds. So what do you mean by adverb of manner? Look at these sentences now, children. She behaved foolishly. He lives here. Here is the adverb. Foolishly is the adverb. The doctor came immediately. Immediately is the adverb. Twice the boy struck him. Twice is the adverb. He is quite strong. Quite is the adverb. So these adverbs will answer different questions here. She behaved. How she behaved? Foolishly. It is answering the question how. It answers the question how. He lives here. Where he lives? It answers the question where. It answers the question where. And then the doctor came immediately. It answers the question when. It answers the question when. Twice the boy struck him. How often? It answers the question how often. He is quite strong. Here it answers the question how much. It answers the question how much. Why are you late? Why is the adverb here? It asks the question why. So it asks a question. Yes, here the adverb performs different tasks here. So here first it is answering the question how. So if an adverb tells you how an action is done, then you call it as adverb of manner. You call it as adverb of manner. If it tells you how an action is done, you call it as adverb of manner. Then here he lives. Here where he lives, it answers the question where. If it answers the question where, if it tells you where an action is done, you call it as adverb of place. You call it as adverb of place. If the adverb tells you when an action is done, you call it as adverb of time. You call it as adverb of time. If an action tells you how often the action is done, then you call it as adverb of number. If an action tells you how much or to what extent an action is done, quite strong, here it is called as adverb of degree. If an action tells you or it asks a question to you, then you call it as interrogative adverb. Yes, now we came across 6 kinds of adverb. So, adverb of manner tells you how an action is done. Adverb of place tells you where an action is done. Adverb of time tells you when an action is done. It shows you when an action is done. Adverb of number shows how often an action is done. Adverb of degree shows how much or to what extent a thing is done. Interrogative adverbs shows an adverb which is used to ask question. Yes, now you learnt about adverb and kinds of adverb.